Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. There was a hell of a lot of action this weekend and we've already covered Formula 1, so let's move on to everything else. We had action in Australia from the V8 Supercars as well as IndyCar from Birmingham, Alabama. So with so much to talk about, let's not mess around and let's begin.
Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
It's almost a guarantee that if I predict something, it will immediately go wrong. I predicted Sebastian Buemi will win Formula E this year. He's not had a great start. I predicted Sebastian Ogier was going to win the WRC. Yeah, he won in Monte Carlo, but he didn't have a great Arctic rally. And now I predicted Joseph Newgarden would probably be champion of IndyCar in 2021, and he crashes at the start of the first race. Now obviously there's a long way to go in all these championships, but with such strong competition in IndyCar, any mistake's a big one. It's such a stacked field this year that there's so many drivers who could potentially be champion that pinning my hopes on one of them was probably a bad idea. So that's how the IndyCar season started, with a pretty big crash at the start of the race that took out 5 cars. We lost Joseph Newgarden, whose fault it was. He got onto the grass, he spun, he admitted it was his own mistake. Nothing he can do about it. It's a shame. In the process, he took out Ryan Hunter-Reay, who had a massively fast accident. I'm surprised he didn't do more damage to his car. Max Chilton got taken out as well. Who else? I've got the list here. Colton Herta and Felix Rosenqvist. So I think only Newgarden and Ryan Hunter-Reay actually retired there and then. Herta did later. I think Rosenqvist and Chilton were driving around a few laps behind. So already at the start you've lost 5 cars from the reckoning. And the race continued. After that it all settled down and not a lot really happened. It was all about the pit stops and where people were coming in and out. Now what I would say is I didn't watch this stream in English. I watched it in Hungarian because I could not find the race anywhere and I wanted to watch it. All I could find was a Hungarian live stream of it. So I watched that, and I don't speak Hungarian, funnily enough, but that's the best I could do. So I didn't get any commentary or anything. I was sort of trying to work out things on my own. But Jimmy Johnson, I was really harsh about him in my preview. I said he's not going to do well. This is a big step. He spun, dropped down to the back of the field and pretty much finished there. So he finished 19th. It's harsh because obviously it's going to take time to get used to the car. And I'm sure somewhere he might get a good result. I don't see it happening, but he might. You can't really disrespect someone who's won 7 championships in any given category. And he is a 7-time NASCAR champion. The other rookies, Romain Grosjean and Scott McLaughlin, stayed out of trouble. They didn't necessarily score great points. Grosjean was 10th and McLaughlin 14th. But given again that they're going to have to get used to the cars, it's not really a bad start to the season. As I said, they at least survived. Not a lot really happened. Alex Palou won his first IndyCar race, which was a bit of a shock. I actually also said that Chip Ganassi didn't really have a strong driver lineup and it's almost entirely going to be focused on Scott Dixon. And it's Alex Palou that draws first blood. Scott Dixon was up there as well. And honestly, Chip Ganassi are probably more of a threat than I give them credit for. Patricio O'Ward was really the star of the weekend, seemingly, because he qualified on pole and led the early part of the race. And he looked quick all weekend. It's kind of a surprise that he only managed to finish 4th in the end. Bit disappointing for him, but strong performances. I'm sure he can do that throughout the year. Eventually he's going to take his first win too. But yeah, Alex Palou, great result. I would not have picked it at the start of the race. So can't fault him. It was a faultless drive. A lot of the major contenders were there, as was Sebastian Bourdais, who managed to get a very strong 5th place for AJ Foyt. A great driver. I said again, I don't think I see him challenging for wins or championships. But if he continues putting in strong performances like that, it can only be deemed a good year if he's getting good finishes. So Sebastian Bourdais is a great driver and he deserves a lot of respect. Other than that, not much really happened in the IndyCar race. I like the track. It reminded me of Alton Park because it's got a lot of hills and sweeping turns. I don't know if overtaking is considered a problem there, but there wasn't a lot on track. The field got very strung out. Towards the end of the race, it did sort of come together, especially in the midfield. Marcus Ericsson dropped back. But overall, it was a good start to the year. Kicked off with a bang anyway. Moving over to Australia, and the main story going into this weekend was Shane van Gisbergen's winning streak. And he won the first race, so that made it 6 out of 6. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep it going all weekend. He finished second to Jamie Whincup in race 2. And Chaz Mostert took race 3 with Van Gisbergen down in 6th. Van Gisbergen, still one of the best drivers of 2021 so far. As I was saying, Shane van Gisbergen has a 139 point lead in the championship. He's got Jamie Whincup behind him. I don't see him losing out this year. This will be his second championship win. Elsewhere, we had European Le Mans Series, and Yi Yiffy, Robert Kubica and Luis Delatraz won for Team WRT. Good selection of drivers there. Yi Yiffy, he was a high flyer years ago, but he struggled in Formula 3, but has really bounced back with a Euro Formula Championship win last year. He won the Asian Le Mans Series this year, and now he's taken a first win in the European Le Mans Series. Along with Robert Kubica and Luis Delatraz, they're both very, very good drivers. So, bit of interest there. They're good, well-supported drivers. And I'm happy to see Robert Kubica take a win, frankly. So, that's pretty much wraps up this weekend. There was Indy Lights as well. Wasn't necessarily the most interesting thing in the world. So moving on to next weekend, we have WRC in Croatia. We have Super Formula and Super Formula Lights. We have IndyCar in St. Petersburg and Indy Lights. We have NASCAR. We've got a couple of TCR championships kicking off. And we have the third round of the Formula E Championship in Valencia in Spain. So remember to subscribe, because I'm sure I'll do another roundup or a couple of videos on it next week. Loads of motorsport action all throughout the year, covered here on Frontrunner Motorsport. So thank you for watching and have a good one.